Well, it's a pretty exciting time of year, isn't it? Santa's about to come and we've got the longest day right upon us, which means you've got all those hours to go fishing. And many of you have now gone on to holiday or are about to go on to holiday. So the question is, what are you going to do with your spare time? Well, of course, you're going to go fishing, and there's so many options out there. Well, look at the weather. It's a wee bit on the dodgy side, but I'm sure in the breaks between, you're going to have a fantastic time. I know the rivers are up a wee bit at the moment, but my experience is they won't stay up forever, and all those fish have been rested, just waiting for you to go out there and give them a bit of a nudge. Well, good news is these beasts don't need to worry about whether or not it's dirty or not, because we're talking about kingfish. Now, kingfish have turned up around Pegasus Bay in pretty good numbers right now. Water temperature's up, and if you've been listening to the weather people, they're telling us that the temperature in the Tasman is about 2 to 3 degrees up on normal for this time of year, which means that all that nice warm weather's coming down here. Warm seas mean more of the exotic species that they get to enjoy up in the North Island. And we're a bit jealous of what happens in Auckland, not with the traffic, I must admit, and not with their rugby team.
You feel like you're in the game and they punish you.
Certainly when it comes to the kind of fishing you've got in your back doorstep there, we're pretty excited. Well, those kingies have come down especially to visit us because obviously it's too crowded up there. And so if you get a bit of a chance, go out and look for some obstructions in the water. I'm talking about things like kelp or a stray log or something that's hanging around. Underneath those sorts of structures you find kingfish, and if you cast some jigs or some sliders or poppers at them, you can have a magnificent time. I've already had some of my die-hard anglers come in and have a fantastic time over the last couple of weeks. So they're here, and they're here in Pegasus Bay around Littleton right now. So get up there and enjoy yourselves. I've even heard they're down as far as Dunedin, which is, again, a good thing because it's going to be a bit like last year. We had a magnificent time with the kingies. They're all the way down to Invercargill, and people were catching there at TY Point, just casting off the land. Fantastic to be able to do that. So the demise of the salmon has meant that we have got at least a lot more in the way of kingfish. Right, what else is out there? Well, the surf fishing has been reasonably good, though the opening of Ellesmere probably slowed down some of the high quality of rig and elephant fish fishing. I know that I went out with a couple of my great colleagues during the week, and we managed to get rig and elephant fish, so they're out there. Make sure you make advantage of those really warm nights. We were out there on one of those beautiful northwest evenings where the wind was at your back and you just enjoyed being there for the sheer fun of it. And great to get the bonus of good eating fish along the way as well. Well, the great thing about the rivers when they do clear has been that the kahawai have come in big numbers. And right down south, Rangitata, the Ashburton and Rakaia have had big numbers of them coming into the mouth. I was down the Waimak the other night, and there was a few fish there. One thing about kahawai fishing is they can turn up, or sometimes they don't. The next morning someone walked into my store and said, wow, we've had a fantastic time. 3 of us caught about 100 from being there early in the day. So just got to pick your time, make sure you're there. Great fun on light tackle. I tell you, if you use light tackle, you have lots and lots of fun. In fact, what I did down there was a lot of small fish around the night that I went and I used a little tiny soft bait like this. This is about, I don't know, 1.5 inches or 2 inches. And I wiggled that thing around and I couldn't believe how much fun I was having. And the interesting thing was that the big fish weren't around and big gear just didn't work. So I was having fun, everyone else was still working hard. Remember, when you're out fishing, you've got to know what's going on. And if it is going to be that you want to have some fun, don't be afraid to use different gear from what you'd normally have. Right, the canals. Well, the canals have been a wee bit on the hit and miss side, and I've had a few people a bit disappointed because when it's running, obviously it's better, and when it hasn't been, it's been a bit tougher. This is a great time for you to get out your soft baits and start fishing around the cages. Remember, when you're soft bait fishing, there's a lot of movement actually in the soft bait itself. So use light jig heads, cast it out, and just let it drift down. So you're fishing in the vertical plane rather than the horizontal plane. Just get a wee tweak, and you'd be surprised how much success you can have. The quality of the fish is still really good. And I know that it's going to get busy down there once we get after Christmas, but the next week or so, if you do get an opportunity to go down there, I'm sure you're going to do well. Right, General trout fishing out in the backcountry has been good when the weather's been right. Lake fishing has been quite exceptional, so if you can, get yourself out there, have a bit of a wander around the lakes. This time of year I love it in the backcountry. A lot of you will be out there camping, I'd imagine, around the lakes, but as long as the wind isn't blowing hard, you can have a lot of fun whether you're spinning or fly fishing. It is a prime time of year to be there. Right, salmon fishing. At last, we're getting reasonable quantities of salmon. Unfortunately, the rivers have gone up because of the recent rain, but they haven't gone up high, and those fish that were in the river have been of very good quality, so that's an encouraging thing. The great thing about the future on those, I would say, is because the fish haven't seen much gear, they'll be in really good condition for biting. They haven't been hassled by Z spinners and other various things, so when the river does come clear, get out there and make it happen. They'll be fishing all the majors, especially the rangitata and the makai, which tend to go well early, and I know that they're right up to the gorge because you really haven't been able to get hold of them. So huge area that you can go and have a look at. Make sure you get out there and do what you need to do. Well, that's about it. I hope you have a fantastic Christmas. We are going to be open every day except Christmas Day. That's one of the joys of being in retail. So come and see us at Unit 4, 484 Cramper Street, or check us out online, completeangler.co.nz. See you there.